Yesterday I found the time, and today I think it's time to make it mine and let it fly. Yesterday I found the time to let it fly, let it fly, let it fly.
Hey y'all, and welcome to Star Trek Shorts. I guess our one time was Let It Fly, but tonight's episode is 1.2, right? And 1.2, The Next Generation, and then beyond, right?
Beyond.
And so, Joe, you started off.
Oh no.
That was your first real.
Pretty much, yeah. That, but I was hardly getting into it on a fuzzy old TV, so I was learning learning the most I could.
So y'all are going to think badly of me, but the guy I played golf with, Grizzly, and I got kind of hooked on it because of Denise Crosby. And I guess it was 7-Eleven or somebody, they had Slurpee or big gulps with Star Trek. I had like 4 Denise Crosbys.
Well, you must have liked the show to continue watching it because she wasn't there very long.
Oh, man, I just thought, I said, this will be it for Star Trek. Denise Crosby's gone, and some ugly dude is taking her spot. There's no way Star Trek can continue.
Apparently, it was just the end of Denise Crosby.
I was wrong. It was. Yeah, I think the Playboy thing ended her career pretty much. Well, it didn't. It didn't.
She came back for some more Star Trek.
They found out a way to clone her in other ways.
It's her daughter, I think, or something. Something weird, yeah.
It was some type of genetic mutation situation. A rip in the space-time continuum of some sort. So, Joe, what got you going on The Next Generation? What did you like about it when you first started seeing it?
I love Picard, of course. The captains who you're always looking for. Picard he was the man. He led. He was the leader that you're looking for. Of course, there's some other people in there that bled into it, but I think Picard is what just gets you hooked on it. Got me hooked on it.
Yeah, early on, some of the other characters weren't that well developed. Like Riker, it took me a couple of years. You'd even see he had a personality and whatnot, And, I thought Troy was a little awkward at first, right? You think?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think?
Her dress was a little short at first.
You can talk louder,
Her dress was a little short at first.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know Marina Sirtis? She lived with Gene Roddenberry.
I knew she was very close to him and his wife.
They brought her over from wherever she was from in Europe, I think.
Wow.
So she was living with them before Next Generation.
You're kidding me.
I think that's the truth.
Like she was homeless or something? Or she just came over to try to find a job?
I don't remember.
We heard her talk about it at the convention.
Yeah, she was an actress. They came over here?
I guess. Yeah, well, is she from Greece or something?
I'm not exactly sure.
She's from somewhere. We should cut all of this.
I know she's from somewhere. Hopefully y'all will tell us where she's from. But
I don't know if she's on for scholarship or college or some kind of thing that was...
Or maybe like to LA or wherever they were filming, right? Like...
Yeah, I don't know.
New to the area.
I'd like to learn more about it.
She definitely got guidance from Gene Roddenberry and his wife about how to stay on the show because they wanted to reduce their female head count. And when Denise Crosby left, Troy thought it was going to be her. She told us.
Why would they want to reduce the female head count?
I don't know. Maybe they thought there were too many cooks in the kitchen or something. But they were all very afraid of them cutting one of the women. And Troy started, on the advice of Gene Roddenberry, she started to really play to the fans and to go to conventions and to make herself a part of the community. And she stayed.
But she became a very strong character.
She became a very strong character.
So, and maybe this partial to her or Gene Roddenberry, because this was his vision. I know he didn't last through Next Generation, but this was his vision. Next Generation was his vision.
Wow, y'all tell me stuff I didn't know. Keep talking. I mean, The Next Generation, y'all have kind of omitted the character that's the most fascinating. Everybody, when I say fascinating, Spock was fascinating in the original series, but in The Next Generation, the fascinating character is clearly
Data. And
Data.
I was in love with him as a 7th grader. I was a child in love with him.
I still have the picture from my copy machine where you put a picture of you into him and y'all were together. I still have it. I should put that on here.
Yeah, it was cute. You know, I've talked to other women who were young when Next Generation was out. All of the young women were in love with Data. And one of my friends thinks it's because he has like this adolescence. Even though, you know, Wesley Crusher was actually a child. I guess he has this, you know, innocence that people, that especially young people could relate to.
That's exactly what it had. Innocence.
Innocence.
He was not human.
What a great word, innocence. He wanted to be human.
He wanted to be, but he had the innocence because he was trying to learn to become human.
That's great. I don't know if I've ever heard that in relation to Data, that the innocence was attractive too, right?
If you were a child.
Yeah.
You know, as a grown woman, a little more partial to Riker, you know.
Well, but that's until you realized that Data was fully functional.
Oh, yes.
Right? I mean, that probably changed a lot of people's minds right there. Like, wait a minute, this could be a thing.
I mean, he's literally a machine.
Yeah. Literally a machine. Yeah, I know. That's pretty crazy. And the possibilities are endless, right? I'm sure a lot of people thought that. But he was innocent. So it's all good. He had a cat. That's good. We like cats.
Spot.
Yeah. What else about Joe? I'm going back to you because, you know, you were what, 15, 16 at the time?
No, I'm thinking more early 20s.
Started in the late 80s.
87?
That sounds right.
You were 18?
Well, yeah.
Wow.
Then when I started watching it, though, I don't know when I started watching it. 2021 probably.
Oh, really? So,
Probably. I'm not sure.
well, I remember we waited every week for it to come on. I mean, it was a big deal to me. Because it's one of those things, like, with all the Star Trek series, they managed to develop characters quickly enough that you get attached, you know? And I think you're right, Picard was very much, was something inspirational about him.
He was just true, you know. And we're forgetting Geordi. And Geordi.
Well, Geordi early on, he was in the back. He wasn't even on the deck, right? He was like an assistant engineer or something.
But as he came on, a stronger engineer. And what you know, the Star Trek series, the engineers had very strong appearances. They were strong characters. You
Montgomery Scott.
notice that?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But they all had the same problem with their captains. Every one of them, even up through O'Brien, who was my guy, is whenever they were asked how long it's going to take to fix something, it's going to take 2 hours. You got 20 minutes. I mean, I think on every one of the shows, the captain was always saying, "Yeah, I'm sorry, but we don't got that kind of time. We'll be dead."
I'm giving it all she's got, Captain.
I'm giving it all she's got. I know. That's pretty much the truth. And doctors were also main characters.
Doctors were very main characters.
You know, and when you look at Gates McFadden again, they didn't develop her real strong early on, right? When did they start hinting at a relationship with Jean-Luc? When was that? That wasn't early.
No.
But we didn't even have any idea about that. You know,
because it was just that she knew that he was good friends with and brought the body of her husband Tom.
Yeah.
But we didn't know anything about them having some chemistry.
Yeah.
Until way later on, when they have like nice uniforms and stuff. So that's definitely not the first couple seasons.
Nice uniforms.
You know, not the one piece.
Yeah. And I hate we can't talk the whole episode about Tasha Yar, but certainly Worf developed in a character worthy of 2 series. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, I had no doubt that when he went to Deep Space Nine that he was going to be a big character, right?
He had already earned that, hadn't he?
Somehow or another, just everything about him. And Klingons themselves were, I want to say, almost comedy relief. You know, comic relief. Because everything with them, to me, seemed a little funny. It's a good day to die. You know, it's not honorable. All the things that they did, including, the whole thing about the sex thing. Sorry. Earth women, we'd hurt you. You know, you'd be injured. And just everything about it was a little bit of comic relief, you know.
They've got a few, I think the Ferengi are like that. We see them for the first time in Next Generation.
What? Well, but not the real Ferengi.
Well, the first time we see them, they're wearing animal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to consider that. It's like when what episode was it when Worf looked back on the video from the original series and saw those Klingons and he said, "Oh yeah, we were having a bad day or something."
He says we don't talk about it.
Yeah, we don't talk about that's part of our history. And I think the Ferengi are the same way. During the Next Generation, I'll talk about them because we're going to get to it later, but, you know, a Ferengi is one of my favorite characters of all time.
They do become that in the Next Generation. They become that.
And it's kind of like
before.
the Klingons. The Klingons have all their little things, and the Ferengi do too. I mean, all the things about money and latinum and naked women and, you know, all those kind of things. It's just funny stuff. But, again, that's what makes the series great, is there's a little bit of humor intertwined into some morality play in all these episodes. And at the same time, you just like the characters and you root for them, you know? You see that? Next Generation.
You really do. And you always want, like, going back to Data, you want so bad for him to have feelings. You know, whatever their plight is, you want for them, you want for Worf to come to terms with his humanity. You know, you kind of want for Troy and Riker to get together because there's right off the bat they are like, oh yes, we used to be together. There's so much tension. You know, you're really rooting for all of them.
But you know, Worf on Next Generation, you see, well, you've got a Klingon on the bridge. You have this. How about in Voyager, you've got a Borg on the. It was like, there was always some fear, and there will always be fear. Klingons represented fear, and that's the start of Star Trek. Klingons were the enemy.
Yeah.
And you know, even the Cardassians, they were enemies too.
Both
and they all worked in the right.
Well, they were later. Early on, it was Romulans.
Romulans.
We didn't get to the, you know, Kardashians until later, which we'll talk about that because they're some of my favorite characters as well. And you know, the plot lines. The other great thing about the Next Generation is they introduced to us some recurring villains. Now, the original series really didn't have recurring villains, but in the very first episode, wasn't it in the very first episode where Q was introduced to us?
Yeah.
Of the Next Generation?
Encounter at Farpoint.
Yeah. And we saw Q probably every season.
A lot. And certainly we saw him in DS9 and in Voyager after that. So he was in Next Generation a lot. And he came back. Kept coming.
If there's such a thing as reincarnation, I'm going to request to come back as a Q. A member of the Continuum. I'm pretty sure that's what I like to do. It's got to be a good gig.
Do you remember who was the most cosplayed character at the Trek?
The convention y'all went to?
Convention we went to. There was Q everywhere.
What was there?
There was, you know, the big top.
Oh yeah.
There was lots of Q characters.
Really?
It was awesome.
I feel like I remember seeing a lot of really great costumes, like Klingon costumes and stuff. Where, y'all, if you were at that Nashville convention in 2009, your costumes look great. You look great. We had such a good time.
But I think that's the beauty of the cosplay of all these conventions. It's probably pretty awesome, you know, because people are using their imagination and making these characters even better.
Yeah. Well, it's all about
Even
the
better.
characters.
I like
Even
that.
better.
Yeah.
All about the characters in Star Trek. And the Next Generation was just phenomenal for characters. Is there anybody we've left out? I mean, there is somebody we've left out, but I'll let y'all come up with it. Who we left out?
So I do want to say, I know one of your favorite characters originated on Next Generation. And I think he may have been in the first episode. And that was O'Brien.
He was the operator at the
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's all I ever
But
saw him.
he was very much just like almost an extra in Next Generation.
He wasn't on the credits or anything like that.
Probably not.
Not on the intro, not on the opening credits. Who were we missing? I don't know if you were
Well,
thinking
it's a
about
recurring character.
it. Okay.
The best recurring character on the first one, on Next Generation.
Oh,
it's
Troy's mom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Module Barrett, once again,
You love
comes in
her.
there.
You love her. She's on every series every year.
How many times does she say the 7 rings and the 4 chalices and the 12 moons of Beta Z or whatever? I mean, absolutely. You talk about a character. I mean, this is a character. And she was strong, you know? I mean, she was, gosh dang it. I don't know. I got to tell you, my favorite recurring character for sure. Maybe in all the series. I don't know.
I feel like maybe, I don't know if I heard it at the convention or I've heard it in another interview, but when they were looking for a role for her on Next Generation, he said, "Oh, I've got just the role." And it was for Troy's mom. I think she was already the voice of the computer, but wanted to do an actual role. And then she would go, another character that would go to DS9.
That's true. That's true.
Odo's girlfriend.
Absolutely. Can you believe it? Odo,
and they like to do that. I've watched the first episode of all of the ones from the glory days of the 90s and early 2000s. So Next Generation, DS9, Voyager, and Enterprise. I'm 90% sure that all of them have a character from before. So in the Next Generation, in the pilot, I'm, again, 90% sure that that's the episode that Bones comes in. He's checking out the ship. They're about to take off, on their mission. And the next one, DS9, Picard is stopping by in the beginning. Voyager starts at Deep Space Nine with Quark trying to take advantage of Harry Kim. So I do think they like to call back. Even in Enterprise, I'm pretty sure that Zephyrin Cochrane, the one from the movie, not some random one, came into it. So, they love to call back. They love to acknowledge the Star Treks that came before.
I know, isn't that great? I mean, again, it's like a whole sequence. And y'all never read all the paperbacks, but I've read all 500 paperbacks, Star Trek paperbacks, or a lot of them. Again, they all run the same timeline, It's just so cool.
Well, now there's the 2 timelines, but we won't get into that. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's
we're
not
way ahead of ourselves.
for today.
Way ahead of
We're
ourselves.
Next Generation right now, okay?
I'll stop.
All right, we're going to go way into detail more on Next Generation later. Anything else we're leaving out of it tonight? Gosh dang it, this has been fun. This is going to be a lot of fun. So, until next time, live long and prosper. Right?
Kapla.
You didn't say anything. We'll see you next time.